Call of Duty League is back, and we're starting the new year off with something completely different. You know, back in the day, they used to have weekend tournaments like 2Ks and 5Ks. It brought more content to the scene, and this is a CDL's attempt at that. So they've introduced a minor tournament. There's a $20,000 prize pool, and winner takes all. And there's also some CDL points up for grabs. 30 to first place, 20 to second, and then third and fourth get 10 each. They came out with a post that said it doesn't affect the seeds or the major tournament. I'm really not sure how that works. I don't really understand that one. But there were 4 games today, and on top of that, Shotzi started crashing out on everyone.
And I'm putting this guy on blast. We have to pay to scrim, y'all. My bad for like coming at you, but I'm actually genuinely tight.
So we'll get to that as well. But the first series of the day, we had the Minnesota Rocker versus LAG Mates. Now the Gentle Mates are coming into this match 0-4, and Priest has been on an insane losing streak in a CDL. Rocker is currently 2-2 after beating LAG Mates in the first week, so they're definitely trying to get their get back. This first round is called the pre-quarterfinals. This whole tournament is single elimination. The top 4 teams automatically advance to the second round, so this first round will be playing for that next spot against the top 4 teams, so loser goes home. Going into this Hacienda hardpoint, LAG got off to a good start, and Linz was heating up. They both have a 2-6 hardpoint record on this map, but when Linz is moving like this, it's really hard to stop him. Nero was also starting to get comfortable on the map, keeping the game within striking distance, and he finished the game 35-23. Linz dropped 36 with 29 non-traded kills. Priesta and Skies couldn't get nothing going this map, but LAG took the first one off of him. And going into the protocol search and destroy, it was a pretty back and forth game. They were trading defenses all the way until round 5, and then in round 7, Paul X got this big 1v2.
Breaks we've seen there, a little 1v3, got a 1v2, and Skies, well, you hopped a little too long. And Paul X picks your pocket. Priest has already won one-on-one in this. Can he do it again? Paul X is getting aggressive now, trying to send it in. Catch him on the cross. The slide is in. He's shooting bodies.
Kismet was putting Linz in good positions to get kills, and he was starting to heat up this game as well. LAG Mates were having a good time. They were smiling after this map. The vibes seemed really good, but everything would change really quick because going into the protocol control, Rocker completely dominated this one, taking every round off of LAG Mates, including the offensive one. And Geo was in takeover mode, just getting in their spawn and spawn trapping them. That's one of the downsides of protocol, but hey, at least it's not Albagra Fortress from MW2. That spawn trap was insane. Map 4 was kind of a weird one. In their first go around, the LAG Mates had a really strong start, and then Rocker started mounting a comeback on them. And into these last few hills, it looked like Rocker might end up taking it, but then someone lagged out of the game when they were at like the 200 point mark, and the entire game had to reset, which is just really unfortunate. But the second time around, Rocker cleaned up their mistakes and started to pull away early. They came out with energy, and it propelled them forward in this game. I mean, this dude Paul X was literally having a nosebleed throughout this match, had a tissue in his nose while he was playing, and was still putting in damage. LAG Mates kept it close, but Rocker ultimately pulled away with a 50-point lead, pushing the final map in this reverse sweep. And it just seemed like LAG Mates completely broke down after this map. And going into the Hacienda S&D, Rocker just looked much more composed, keeping the lead the entire game. Guys had a nice 2-piece to keep the team alive in one of the final rounds.
Paul's waiting. I'm nearly able to snap, but Skies will get both.
But LAG Mates were ultimately making too many mistakes, like when Kismet did this.
But now Kiz is in a great spot to find a first blood. That was insane. Oh my god, why did he just do that?
I think he's just putting a little bit too much pressure on himself to make plays for the team, and him and Linz haven't found that chemistry, and they were eliminated from the tournament, with Rocker advancing to the next round against Toronto Ultra in an impressive reverse sweep. If that restart doesn't happen, I think it ends differently. Well played by Rocker for bringing it back. Yeah, it ends in a quicker 3-2 for us. Man, Priest is one of my favorites, but this year might be the year he's done. He looked awful this year, man. Rocker fans still see the need for some improvement, saying absolutely we did not win. LAG lost. Honestly, for you though, Geo looked good today. Paul looks good in S&D, and Nero still doing his thing. Going into the second series of the day, we had Atlanta FaZe versus Miami Heretics. FaZe had a shocking start to this season. They started the season 1-3. Andraza struggled early on with a 0.61 in S&D, so they were looking to turn it around today and prove everyone wrong going into this minor tournament. For Miami, Rencor has been a really bright spot for them, and I think he's going to end up being Rookie of the Year. I don't know how many rookies there are, but making the Heretics a dangerous team if they show up on game day. And going into the first map, we had a red card hardpoint, and Miami caught FaZe off guard with this early start.
Sí, falta el caracol, vale, fondo de bala, Lucky, solo dos fondos, los dos fondos, 100%, el otro también, mismo fondo. Y el otro tiene que ir por ahí también o medio.
Holding FaZe to under 100 points for most of the map. Real looked incredible, and the way he moves with this Omni movement, being fast in those close range gunfights, it's gonna be a good game for him. But FaZe came out flat, and this was a wake-up call for them because if they lost, they were gonna be eliminated from the tournament. The last two hills, they only got a couple points, and it was a really difficult game for Abizi and Celium. On the other side though, Rencor and Real were holding it down for Miami and take the 1-0 lead going into the vault, search and destroy. In this game, Simp had the most incredible 1v4 that I've seen probably since Abizi's 1v4 in MW2.
And gets taken down as well, and Abizi has a 1 versus 4 to try and do something.
Oh, would you put it past him?
Maybe would in this scenario. Finds Hydra. Surely not Hydra. Oh my goodness, Abizi! Oh, 1 versus 4!
Miami got the bomb down, and Simp proceeded to do this.
Another one of his teammates falls. Can he find any more? No, it's all down to Sim. It's a 1v4 and it's soon to be over. Wait a minute. He's managed to make a meal of it. 20 seconds on the clock. Forward we go. Oh, and that. Oh, never mind. It's a 1v1. It's a 1v1. Sim. Can he do it against Metal? Oh, unbelievable moment.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. FaZe kept the lead after this, and any momentum that Miami had went down the drain. FaZe started winning round after round after this one, and Simp got into flow state, which is just really scary to see. Miami has struggled in search and destroy anyways, and going into the vault control, Draza and Real were holding it down for their teams, and they were about to start, and then there was a power outage.
All how to play this map.
And by staying on it is helpful.
That's your FaZe. Oh dear, looks like we may have lost all of Atlanta FaZe.
Which, by the way, if you've been affected by any of this bad weather, whether it be the fires in California or the winter storm that's been going on throughout the US, I hope y'all stay safe, man, and prayers to all those affected. But when they got back into the map, Miami's been notoriously good on this map. They're 4-0. FaZe are 1-3, and Heretics look like they may take this one off of FaZe, getting that early 2-1 lead. But FaZe got blessed with 2 defenses. Simp was also getting these crazy pistol kills, which is just really fun to watch, to be honest, and continuing to push that momentum. Lucky actually played pretty good for Miami. He had 4k damage this game. FaZe just played those defenses the right way and had all momentum in their favor going into protocol hardpoint, and Heretics just couldn't keep up on this map. There were like 4 hardpoints here where Heretics barely even got a point, and Simp was easily the match MVP. This game he went 28-15, still getting over a minute on the hill, and Metals left the game after going 11-27. Because he did that, I had to go back and look. I feel like he just brought more attention to it. Heretics are eliminated from the minor tournament, and Atlanta FaZe go on to play LA Thieves next, so that's going to be a really good match. Rencor was the only player positive for Miami, and Draza had himself a bounce back series. Simp pulled an unwinnable 1v4, and the rest is history. Look, I know FaZe have looked bad, but they're not losing to Heretics. Some of y'all got to get a grip. GG's Miami 3-1. I hit flow that series. Might have been my first official 1v4 as well. I don't mind. Tomorrow we get Draza versus Scrap again. In the third series of the day, it was Optic versus Vegas Falcons. Now, Optic lost to Boston Breach in the first week, and in the second round, that's who they're gonna play. But they've also been going through some other stuff because they had a roster change, replacing Pred with Hook. Falcons also seen a roster change of their own, as Kix, who was their best player, stepped away for personal reasons. King of Booty, he went down to Challengers, man. So that's just unfortunate, bro. He had a rough stint, but it resulted in a 2-man change with 2 players that I've never heard of. We got that boy Wixel, and then we got D7 X. I don't know how to say his name, but having your CDL debut against Optic is not ideal. However, they came out with a very impressive start and caught Optic completely off guard this game, pushing the lead up to 100 and had the chance to close out the game, and Xnid was frying.
So they're going to be funneling on through, but Xnid is ready for it as the Falcons are shooting.
Still 0 points up for Optic. Texas.
What a start!
Just getting absolutely fried. They're not quite
Optic started applying the pressure though, and they went on a run of their own, putting the pressure on Falcons on the second set of rotations, making for an incredible finish. Dashy and Shotzi had to keep up in the slaying department. That's the only way they were going to be able to win against Falcons. And Xnid, because he had 52 kills in his game, 36 non-traded. I mean, this kill was absolutely frying, and it made for an unexpected game 1. 1v1. Xnid also had over a minute on Hill, but Optic got it done, and Kenny looked like he was ready for this game to be over. And the protocol search and destroy, Vegas kept it close in this one as well. Shotzzy started the map with this nice 1v2 to tie the game at 2-2.
He was here we go. That player hops. Shotzzy times it well, able to re-snap, wins the round. It almost gets away from him.
No, I thought
Xnid was continuing to play well, but for Kenny, he started the game 0-5. There's also been this weird bug in the game where if somebody throws a nade and then you cook a nade, I think it like explodes in your hand or something, because that's what happened to Hook. He got like a 2-piece team kill, but it happened to a couple people today. If it happens again on day 2, hopefully they show a replay of it. But either way, Shotzzy finished this map 12-7. Doom had himself a good map with 1200 damage and grabbing a couple first bloods, but Optic pulled away in the last 2 rounds, winning 6-4. And in this map 3, vault control, not too much to say about this one. Optic shut it down 3-0, and Kenny was really happy this game was finally over. Shotzzy controlled the pace this map, and this might be one of his best games ever. Can't wait to watch him play on LAN. Falcons have talent on their team, like with the Xnid 53 kills is crazy, but they haven't been able to put it together, and these roster changes aren't helping. Whatever Kick's got going on, man, I wish him the best. Hopefully he's able to return to the team. Optic got some things to work on, but Falcons threw a couple of these maps away, and Optic took advantage. Dashy and Shotzzy having themselves a really good series. Kenny said that was frustrating. Every timing was weird. GG's phase. We weren't playing well, but that was completely different pace from what we've been playing. Was just annoyed with me being impatient. Dashy and Shotzzy this year. Now, speaking of Shotzzy, he had an interesting post-game interview, and he started chirping at the rest of the league.
I feel like I personally have to, because I'm literally not getting real practice. And what I mean by that is like people, they want to say they want to win and this and that, but like when I'm playing against them, I know for a fact they're kill whoring, they're not doing efficient stuff, and to me it's annoying because like as a competitor, you want to get better.
It all sparks from issues that the teams were having because they were going to scrim. I think it was LA Thieves, but LA Thieves didn't want scrims to be streamed.
And I'm putting this guy on blast. I'm Troy. Yo, not trying to be streamed in our pack. So let me know what y'all trying to do. What? Not trying to be scrimmed in? What do you mean? Who the are you? My bad for like coming at you, but I'm actually genuinely tight.
Scrap said the reason I complain so much is because I want this to be better. All Optic gotta do is cover minimap and we're good. That's what we said, but it didn't happen. So that was like its own thing. And then I think Shotzzy just started crashing out after this. He just stopped caring, saying players getting payment cuts every year and wonder why. Clowns, most of y'all don't do nothing besides collect a check. He was even going back and forth with Aches, who said he was making up drama in the CDL.
There isn't drama anymore.
Listen, let me finish.
Shotzzy is making shit up and tweeting,
anytime,
trying to make drama.
Anytime these players
points to a lot of other issues in the CDL too. I ain't never seen him go crazy like this, but we need that energy back in the CDL. He said gonna chill now, but at most CDL pros put fries in a bag in a couple years. Thank you. Let's leave your thoughts on this situation down below. But let's get into this final match of the day, which was Cloud9 and Seattle Surge, who are both 1-3 right now. They both struggled to meet expectations at the beginning of this season, and depending on how this match goes, roster changes could be right around the corner. Cloud9 is currently 0-4 coming into Control today, so they were looking to get their first win of the season. And going into the first map on Red Card Hardpoint, Cloud9 came out strong, and Mac had an incredible start to the series.
Nice and far away. Hixie, though, the right gun for the job in that moment, able to at least pick up 2, but you'd rather have the ARs over by the stage. A destructive hold so far.
Mac continues, folks, to be a multi-kill machine. Here comes another. 5th in a row. As he is on one, boys and girls. Perfect timing, perfect positioning.
Vancouver had a solid first week. They looked defeated before this match even started. It just looked like the vibes weren't there for the team, and they started this game really slow. Attach had himself a rebound map. Throughout Major 1 qualifiers, he had a .85, but in this hard point, he had a 1.45. And Mac dropped 37 kills this game with over 4k damage, keeping the lead over 100. And Cloud9 take the first map on Red Card. And going into the Skyline Search and Destroy, Vancouver has more reps on this, going 3-4, and Cloud9 has a positive record going 3-2. And this was actually a really fun S&D to watch. It went all the way down to around 11, and Kremp was just going crazy this game, but Hixie was icing up, getting this clutch 1v1.
Each get the trades out, but you're still a man down.
See, oh wow, checks every possible corner. His teammates there for the pickup. What a play, 1v1. Hixie spots him out. I love this nade. That hits. Here comes Kremp to finish what he started. Hixie guns him to bed. What a round.
Then we get to the round 11. Cloud9 gets defense, Surge gets the bomb down, and then this happens.
Here comes all the slide. Hixie saw them. Red dots populate the minimap at the pinch. We're in. Can Ixie find his? Oh, Toto.
There's just no time. Someone's going to have to hop it in just a second. Still, no one's going to be on it. Down to 10. You got to get to the bomb for the prayer, and Nasty's here. Has to win the first one, and he can't get it done. C9 with no time.
Attach was able to hop on a bomb at 8 seconds, and Kremp just got these huge kills to win them the map. Kremp went 12-8, Sib went 10-6, and it was a great bounce back map from them, which could have gone either way, but now the momentum was in their favor going into the vault control. And Cloud9 started off with the lead, but then Kremp lagged out, so it was like the third lag out of the day, and the game resets. But when the game did reset, Vancouver came out swinging, and 0-4 started frying. With the game tied at 1-1, Surge had the good side on defense, had a 21-14 life count, but they just started breaking down, and Cloud9 picked them apart. Vancouver Surge ended up losing this round, which was a huge loss for them, and it just didn't look like there was much confidence on their side. Cloud9 ended up getting the defense for round 5 and won the game in a convincing fashion. Surge just looked like they were not meshing well today and got eliminated from this tournament early. In this third map, Mac was continuing to put in that damage, and Abuza and Hixie were the only two positive players for Vancouver Surge. I wish this was like a double elimination bracket so these teams could get more chances. With this format, it's just one and done, so if you start slow, that could be the only chance you get. So for Vancouver, they all went negative this series, and it was just a rough showing from them. There were glimpses of teamwork, but with this current roster, I know the potential when y'all get to form. I can't wait to see it, refocus, and talk new strats. Nasty said GG's, Cloud9 lost 3-0. Those resets, map 3 sucked, lost a streak because of it. In the post-game interview, Kremp revealed something pretty crazy.
Didn't know this, but for the last couple of years, I've been kind of blinded when I went to the eye doctor, had to get some spectacles, so it's worth it.
And Puckett said it best.
He could shoot when he couldn't see. Now he can see. Y'all are screwed. Look out for Kremp. Cloud9's coming for you.
Kremp was looking really good this series, so we'll see if he can continue it on in day 2, where they play Carolina Royal Ravens next. Today's KD leaders: at number 1, we got Dashy with a 1.35. Max at number 2. Draza had himself a bounce back series today, and Simp and Shotzi might be battling for that MVP spot. We made it to day 2, and the matches just got even better, with the first one being Toronto Ultra versus Minnesota Rocker. Rocker was coming off of that reverse sweep and wanted to come into the protocol with some energy, but Kleenex shut him down real quick.
Hands of beans, and every single kill you need to get, it is one by one by one.
Toronto held the lead to around 50. Estriel started heating up, allowing Rocker to start bouncing back into the game, but Joe and Kleenex used those SMGs to push the pace and extend the lead. Joe broke the final hill through the back door, and they ended up winning on the P3. It was just a preview of the intense match to come, and they lost by 10 points. Now going into the protocol S&D, the momentum of Toronto Ultra was just too much for Rocker. Ultra was in control for the entire game and picked up right where they left off, picking Rocker apart round by round. Kleenex was making plays on the map to get into their spawn and looked really comfortable in this one. And honestly, Ultra looks great in S&D, and they prove it once again here, finishing the map 6-1. Paul X dropping a donut, but it looked like Ultra might get the 3-0, but you forgot who we're talking about: Minnesota Rocker. They've been pushing game 5s all weekend, and they were not going to stop now. In the vault control, Toronto had control for most of the game, but Rocker used their teamwork to get the win, especially in the final round.
Astro and Paul find their kills through the front. Here we go.
Oh, he's not even here to call it in. No respawns remaining. 3 players. If you get everybody on the point, maybe you can fall. Second tick nearly through, but Beans finds the extra kill anyway. And that should be enough to get it done, unless you pull off the miraculous 4-man down, 2 players left. Is this going to be in time? I think so. Rocker have done it again.
It was an even scoreline from both sides, and it was a really close game to the finish. Pretty insane clutch in a 2v7. Geo and Nero led the charge, and they somehow pulled off this vault control, pushing it to a map 4. And Toronto looked like they might take this one. They were up 130-70, and then the map reset because someone's game crashed. And then whenever the game actually reset, Ultra had the momentum to start. They started pushing the lead, but then Rocker at the midway point in the map started mounting a comeback, and whether you want to call it reset cheese or not, Rocker extended the lead by over 100. Beans was looking a little indecisive on the map. Rocker took advantage, and Paul X was making great plays around the map and push another game 5. Now, I like Ultra with the Beans and Joe Deceives duo. I was not expecting Rocker to come out this strong this weekend. There was some wait time due to some ping issues, but then we made it into the map 5, and this one one was a banger. Nero led Rocker into this game, and they're really good on this map to begin with. The Estriel started heating up and got on a 4-kill streak to extend the lead. I mean, Ultra were nearly perfect coming into this S&D. One of the best, if not the best S&D team. Beans got on a 5 spree himself, but it was a bit too late, and Joe had a really difficult map going 1-7. Rocker pulled away with the lead and ended up completing the reverse sweep and winning 6-3. Nero having himself a monster game with 12 kills, and they guaranteed top 4 for the rest of the weekend. That was their second reverse sweep in back-to-back days, which is pretty incredible, especially against a team like Toronto Ultra. Rocker need to be investigated because how they just reverse sweep every series. That's the Estriel from last year I waited for. He was everything. Insight trolled hard round 5 control. He's the reason they lost. Dude's a snail, man. And the second match on day 2, it was none other than Optic Texas versus Boston Breach. Now, Boston actually beat Optic in opening weekend, and they come into this season as underdogs. Optic was looking to win this rematch, and things kicked off in the Hacienda hardpoint with Purge playing really well to start the day. Also watching Dashy's gameplay, he looks like he's in MVP form right now, and it was a back and forth match between Optic and Boston, living up to the expectations of everyone watching, and it came down to the final P4 hill. Optic led in the second to last hill, but then Snoopy got this nasty 3-piece.
It's around the point, one peeking out, wrapping around the backside of garage and trying to hop back in. We'll see if they can make the play. Snoopy, he does. He gets all 3. He
hit the rotation and got the final hill. Awakening was really struggling this series and started this game 15-28. Kenny also on the other side of Purge and Snoopy's 33 and 31 kills. Boston Breach pull out the map 1-0, and what do you know, it's Hacienda once again. Kenny bounced back from that hard point and started the game 8-2, and whenever he slowed down, Dashy picked up right where he left off. Optic looked really well prepared in this S&D. They were making good play calls in the last few rounds. Dashy finished the game 11-7, and for Boston, Purge was playing out of his mind with 1,500 damage, but it wasn't enough to get the job done. Now, Boston came out hot in this game and kept control throughout the entire map. Honestly, they just knocked Optic off of their heels and were playing so much better than them, being much more aggressive on the map, shutting down Shotzi. Snoopy played really well with 22 non-traded kills, and it was nothing but complete domination on this control. Boston Breach winning 3-0. We found ourselves on the protocol hardpoint once again, and Dashy has just been a consistent factor for them when it comes to these respawn game modes. He dropped another 30+ kill game, and Awakening was still struggling, trying to find his way in the respawns. But in this game, he had a 0.5, and it was just back and forth up until the middle of the game. When we got to the second set of rotations, Optic just slowly started pulling away. Dashy having 3,600 damage, just keeping people away from the hill, pushing that game 5 we all knew was coming. And Optic started really strong, going up 3-0, but Boston wasn't going to go down that easy, and they kept on fighting back. Snoopy got a really nice 2-piece to cut the lead to 1, and despite Dashy having a slow start, Hook was moving the bomb, getting the plants down, but Boston was countering them, making good plays through the mid rounds, and making the game close in the final few rounds. But Kenny got this insane defuse. The timing on this one was insane, and Optic was just 1 round away from closing it out. Awakening bounced back, but it wasn't enough to get it done. He had a 1v1 for all the marbles, and yeah, it did not go well for him. Awakening ended this series with a 0.76 KD, and he'll have to pick it up for this Boston squad going forward. Shotzi was quieter this series, and Boston gave him a good fight till the very end. Optic move on to play Carolina in the semifinals next, and Boston's weekend is officially over. Optic versus Boston is a guaranteed game 5. Good game 5 out of Kenny too. What a trolley series from both teams. GG's to Boston, 1-3-2. Finally, someone is trying. We get to the Cloud9 versus Carolina Royal Ravens matchup, and this one caused a little bit of controversy. Now, Carolina is coming into this map undefeated, and Cloud9 looked much better in their win over Surge on day 1. We hopped right into the Hacienda hardpoint, and this game was going back and forth just like with all the other hardpoints. Kremp was making plays, and he's been cracked in Black Ops 6 so far, and it was a combined effort from Cloud9, but then Sib did this.
Right? A lot of solo challenge coming in.
We're going forward, but it's into the guns of Sib.
Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah, it's such a heads up moment.
What are you thinking, Tom?
Whoa!
Yeah, that's a red card. And it resulted in a win for Cloud9. Granted, he broke a GA, but a win's a win. And C9 goes up 1-0. And going into the Hacienda S&D, Carolina are an extremely good S&D team and really showed their strengths in this game. TJ Halley has been a really dominant SMG player, and he showed it with this round 7 ace.
Ready to square up over by mid. You're dealing with Slasher, you're dealing with the trades. How do they roll through a 2v2? TJ and Gwen looking to take care of business.
Perfectly balanced, like it has been in many of these rounds. That's a problem. That's
an
a
ace.
big
But
problem.
on the opposite side of that, Mac was getting smacked. He went 0-6 this game, and C9 could not get anything going. Royal Ravens were clearly the more prepared team, and TJ was having himself a masterclass series. With the series tied 1-1, we take it to the vault control, and TJ dropped a 40 bomb with 24 defensive kills, Vivid helping him with the slaying as well. I feel like vault control is either really close or a 3-0. There's like no in between, but C9 choked a few of these rounds and really couldn't piece anything together in this final round as they had offense. And despite the slaying being even across the board, this one really came down to that final moment where Carolina took this map and we take it to the Skyline hardpoint. Skyline is always a bang out, and it gives SMGs a chance to really get active on the map, and Attach and Kremp were bringing energy.
I'm only piano. I have a front door. Reese coming front door. Reese is not in. Front door. One shot. Could be white. Yeah, blow me up. I'm making it. No way. Nice, guys.
Cloud9 came into that final hill. They won those trades that they needed, and in a very fitting manner, another match goes to a game 5. Sib put in 4,300 damage into map 4. Was showing a little ice going into map 5. In these map 5s, Carolina is currently 1-0, trying to hold on to that streak, and C9 is 0-1. Cloud9 got off to a really strong start in this S&D, taking the lead 3-0 against Carolina. Sib and Kremp were playing really well, and Mac was moving with the ball, making plays. But after round 4, there was another problem with someone's system, and it seemed like Cloud9 got iced from this. When they came back into the game, Carolina slowly pieced a comeback together, and Gwyn was playing extremely well off of this reset, and the game went into a round 11. C9 made the B push, and Mac actually makes a really good play, but unfortunately he's taken down, and it seemed like Sib snaking in that map 1 came back to bite him. But the true MVP of this match is TJ Halley. Those few respawns, he went insane, and he dropped a 40 bomb, securing them a top 4 spot to play against Optic Texas on Championship Sunday. Gwyn has been in MVP form, and it seems like nobody can stop him on these fast-paced maps. TJ Halley looks really good in this game as well. C9 also looked much better this weekend too. They made progress from the slow start that they had, but they weren't able to get it done today, snaking and choking a 5-3 lead. Good. That round 11 was crazy. I think Mac totally could have clutched it. Not a bad series at all. And there was some drama about the whole snaking situation with Sib. Ghosty saying, "I've started the vote for C9 to be blacklisted 1 week from pro scrims for snaking during the match today. Currently 6 of 11 teams have agreed, waiting on the other 5. Sib responded saying, "Fair, but keep that same energy all year, because come tournament time, nobody says anything, especially champs." Now there's been a bunch of drama with the GAs over the past few years. It really just deserves a whole video on itself. It's a very unorganized system, but it's good that they're taking steps to lay ground rules if people break them. But we'll see if C9 actually get blacklisted. That could hurt him going forward if they do. But in the final match of day 2, we had a highly anticipated matchup between LA Thieves and Atlanta FaZe. Now this is LA Thieves' first series of 2025, and in 2024 they were running hardpoint, especially in Rewind. But Rewind is no longer in the map pool, and so now they're gonna have to try a different map out, and so they got Protocol for the first hardpoint. And Drazen and Scrap have quite the history, and the saga continues in Black Ops 6. So hopping into the Protocol hardpoint, Atlanta FaZe came out swinging and caught LA Thieves completely off guard. They dominated the P1 throughout this game. LA Thieves could not get control of mid at all, and everyone on FaZe was playing it well across the board. They had control, knew the map better than LA Thieves, and got off to a 65-0 start. Now LA Thieves started making a comeback of their own, putting the game within 20. Well, right as soon as they got close, FaZe was not going to let them get too close, and they pulled away after Draza started piecing. LA Thieves were 7-1 going into this hardpoint match. FaZe were 5-4. Even being at a disadvantage, FaZe came out swinging, and Abizi was putting in work, shutting down Hydra and Envoy. And going into the Skyline Search and Destroy, FaZe carried that momentum into the second map, and Abizi got going early. Atlanta FaZe took a dominant 2-0 edge, and this map was not even close. Ghosty left the match, so you know I had to check. He went 5-6, and Envoy was struggling as well, but he stayed in. And the SMG matchup was just completely lopsided. FaZe guys having a 1.19, and Envoy and Hydra having a 0.63 in this series. They were really struggling to get something going, and FaZe dominated, winning the S&D 6-2. And in the Protocol control, I'm surprised it wasn't Vault. LA Thieves and FaZe traded defensive rounds, and LA Thieves ended up winning round 34 on defense. When this happens, it comes down to ticks, and in this case, it was LA Thieves. Scrap was playing really well. I'm not gonna lie, LA Thieves barely won this final defense to push it to a map 4.
Trying to find him, and there we go, all 4 dead. Now you're gonna have multiple players on it.
Hold up.
Celium locked in down the middle of the map, or at least trying to, and FaZe are on B.
They're gonna get 3 off of it. Close to bringing this back. But now you're in trouble. Just got to trade this efficiently if you're Thieves, and it's done. 1 player remaining in Draza, and he is night-night.
And we're looking really shaky throughout this series. Scrap went 34 and 26, and Abizi was putting in a damage as well with 36. Cell had 24 kills on the offensive side, but LA Thieves somehow got it done, even though it wasn't too pretty. And when we got into this Skyline hardpoint, Abizi just hit a different mode.
No holes in their setup.
Finally, it's some pressure towards the back staircase, but it's just been multi-kill push, and now he's going to try to get aggressive through the middle of the map. Keep it going. As he's up to 8 and 2. He was
LA Thieves kept it close. They had energy in their comms, and they tied it going into the kitchen hill in the middle of the game. But Envoy was still having a slow game here. Simp was shooting bodies along the way, letting the disrespect be known. BZ was frying, and it was just too much for LA Thieves. Winning by 50 points and shocking everyone by knocking out LA Thieves early. Gaza finally getting one on Scrap. I'm sure he felt really good after this. And it was ultimately just a really sloppy loss for LA Thieves. FaZe were on their A game, and it looked like they took this break really serious. Draza said GG's LAT. That's the best team in the game. Nade Shot was pretty heated at his team, saying, I don't want to see our guys log off the game until the first major. Clearly, the foot was taken off the gas pedal over the break. Figure it out. Scrap was not happy about this tweet, so we'll see if they can bounce back and make it happen. But for now, FaZe have the last laugh, going on to play Minnesota Rocker in the semifinals. But with that, it concludes day 2. We got some of the KD leaders, and what do you know? We got that boy Snoopy and number 1 with a 1.23 KD. He was really putting Boston on his back. But I can't say that because Purge was playing really well too. But he was cooking in that series against Optic. TJ Halley up in the 2nd place spot. He had himself a great weekend along with Dashy and Attach. Minnesota Rocker really shocked everyone, and Estriel has been playing really well lately. But we got 3 matches for Championship Sunday. They look to be certified classics. So let's see how this plays out. And we made it to Champ Sunday. Day number 3 out of 3, and only 4 teams are left. FaZe, Rocker, Optic, and Carolina are the final 4 teams playing for that first place spot for 20k and for 30 CDL points. And for the first match of the day, we had FaZe versus Rocker. Rocker has been really impressive this weekend, and this game did not disappoint. Going into the protocol hardpoint, FaZe was struggling to keep track of the Rocker players, but Abizi and Celium were really keeping them organized, keeping them in the game, and trying to keep up their hardpoint win streak. Rocker started off flat and were not winning rotations against FaZe. Now Paulex was doing damage of his own and was able to keep Rocker really close until the 3rd set of rotations. FaZe played these final 2 hills really well and pulled away with the lead at the end, and FaZe are able to get it done, winning by 23 points. Now going into the vault search and destroy, this is where Rocker really started to shine. Astro had an incredible performance in the SND, and the duo of him and Nero is really elite, and we're starting to see that come to fruition in this tournament. There was 5 first deaths from Abizi, which really costed FaZe a couple rounds, and FaZe was struggling on defense. A really close SND, and in the final round, Rocker made a great play, getting that retake of the bomb site to tie the series at 1-1. Now Simp had himself a good map. This was like the first time Abizi showed that he was human this weekend, going 2-9, but Estriel carried his team to victory in the map 2 with 2 first bloods from every player on Rocker. And going into the vault control, FaZe and Rocker traded defenses, and Simp wins a massive 1v1 after a great effort from Rocker on the B point.
Cell, he's been a hero in these moments before. Can he do it again? Nade is out. Contest is in. 3v3. Paul finds the opener. Simp with the response. He's able to take that into a second. A 1v1 with Nero. 30 seconds on the clock, but it's all about who wins the gunfight.
Nero played the rotations well and really kept FaZe in a spawn trap type of situation. And Estriel had another massive performance to really give them momentum in this map, forcing it to a round 5. Estriel and Minnesota were able to clutch up in this map 3 and take the series lead. And Red Card is not a great map for either one of these teams, to be honest. Rocker has had a few close games on it, and this game was no exception because Rocker got off to a really slow start, which hurt them later in the game. They started closing the gap into these final few hills, but FaZe just had too big of a lead. Draza was having himself a pretty good map with 14 kills on the objective. Paulex was on the opposite side of that, and FaZe won the game 4 in red card. And going into this map 5, Minnesota Rocker are 4-0 in their game 5s. Atlanta FaZe 0-1. Even if these stats seem completely lopsided, Atlanta FaZe was prepared as ever in this game 5 on protocol search and destroy. Minnesota Rocker got completely caught off guard. FaZe hasn't been too great in S&D to start the season, but they clearly did their homework in this one. FaZe got a bunch of first bloods and were making plays on a map to extend the lead. Rocker was unable to get anything going, had a few winnable rounds, but ultimately lost in the map 5. Despite Estrio having a great series, he was 3-8 and couldn't shoot back against the Tiny Terrors, and Rocker had a really impressive run. They look like a good squad, and if they can just clean up these respawns, they're gonna be a pretty dangerous team going forward. But FaZe advances to the grand finals to play the winner of Optic versus Carolina. Really hope this Minnesota team doesn't just get shuffled into the mix. I really like them. The FaZe ARs have been nasty after the break, really proving the doubters wrong after a slow start to the season. Also, I really like watching this Rocker team. They always feel like they have a chance in this series. In the second to last match of the day, we had Optic Texas versus Carolina Royal Raven. Now, Optic pulled out the championship whites for Champ Sunday, and Optic and Carolina have not matched up at all this year, but this is an extremely close match on paper, and it came down to the wire. On the Skyline hardpoint, Optic came out really hot, keeping a 100-point lead throughout the game and just completely gunning Carolina. Hoot going 35-16. That's just ridiculous. On top of that, he had over a minute on the hill. Dashy went 34-24, and I mean, what are you supposed to do whenever you're getting fried like that? And on the second set of rotations, Optic just completely pulled away from Carolina, taking the 1-0 lead in under 10 minutes. But Carolina is a dangerous team in S&D. In fact, throughout the Minor 1 tournament, Gwyn had a 1.45, and so did TJ Halley. Almost exactly the same stats. There were already some body shots going on, but this is where the tension really started rising. Shotzzy got off to it first.
Nade from the defense, not going to land. Slasher by himself here. Shotzzy, a mid-connector. Shotzzy for 2, plus a little extra after that. And now he's just left with the pistol.
Then TJ Halley clutched this massive 1v1.
Shotzzy's out. He's going to get the regen. And if he tries to re-pull this through connector, he may find timing on the TJ here. Here's the check. Shotzzy!
In these final few rounds, Slasher got Dashy off with a bomb with this insane timing. Slasher was just feeling different after that and came into the final round with a 3-piece to call game.
And here we go again. Shotzzy down low. This time it's Slasher up top. He's able to track down both of them. Slasher following. Oh! Could he get the full ace? They know Kenny's playing outside, but
Shotzzy went 10-6. They couldn't do nothing against Carolina on this Hacienda S&D, and they were shut down 6-4. And now going into this vault control, it was the battle of the SMG. We had TJ Halley with a 1.43 and Hook with a 1.31 in control throughout Minor 1. Gwyn got off to shooting bodies early again. It bit Optic in that S&D, and it would come back around to bite Gwyn in this one. Optic kept their foot on the gas. They just proved to be the better team in these respawn game modes, and Dashy dropped 3,800 damage again. TJ Halley slowed down a bit, and Optic were able to take 2 attacking rounds off of them. Optic dominated that final offensive round to take that 2-1 series lead. Going into the red card hardpoint, it looked like Optic might be able to close this one out, but Ravens showed resilience and started to fight back. It was a pretty close game up until the middle. After the listen-in with Carolina, they really started taking the lead. It's crazy too, because this is like the first game that it didn't make it to 250 points. Instead, the timer ran out, and Loki saved Carolina and made an insane comeback with the clock expiring. The final score being 206-197, with Vivid having one of his best maps in the minor. And we go to the protocol at S&D. Here, Optic are 2-1 and Carolina are 2-0 in map 5s. So Carolina was trying to stay undefeated, and this game is where the tension reached an all-time high. Shotzzy was even chirping on the player cam after winning a round, and it was clear that Shotzzy and Gwyn were taking this matchup personally. 2 great SMGs in the league. Gwyn trying to prove himself against Shotzzy, who has multiple rings, and man, did he do a good job in this S&D, because they were battling back and forth, shooting each other's bodies, chirping in game, but Carolina were able to extend lead to 5-4. They picked off Optic little by little, putting Kenny in a 1v2, and he lost it. And then Gwyn did this. You could tell he was feeling some type of way. He had an incredible final map, dropping 12 kills. Shotzzy had 13, and it was truly a battle all the way to the end. Carolina eliminating Optic Texas Texas, and Gwyn might be a new rival for the Optic fan base, but he is definitely an MVP contention. That series was cinema. Shotzzy did all that yapping. Nobody beat Slasher 15 times in a row. We are a fake 4-0 team. We're 6-0 now, and we move on to the Minor 1 final. Shotzzy didn't tweet anything after this series, but I honestly like this version of Shotzzy, man. I hope he keeps chirping. But for now, Optic Texas is out, and the grand final is FaZe versus Carolina. Now, Carolina beat FaZe in week 2 of the CDL in a 3-0 fashion. I think they even 100-point clubbed FaZe too. Now, going into this protocol hardpoint, FaZe have more reps, being 9-4 in hardpoint, Carolina being 7-4, but Atlanta starts the finals strong with a full team effort all around. TJ, Hallie, and Gwyn were quiet this map, and if that's the case, that means the Tiny Terrors are turning up, and that's exactly what they did. Towards the end of this first set of rotations, FaZe completely started pulling away, keeping about a 50-point lead throughout the entire game. TJ going 13-28, Abizi having himself a masterclass with 3,200 damage, and Celium getting a minute 30 on the hill, and winning the game by almost 100 points to start the grand finals. But you know those S&Ds are really scary against Carolina, and in this protocol search and destroy, TJ Hallie showed exactly why.
So, you know, the rest of the boys should be all bunched up, and it's a hot hit, and it's Gwyn who has been melted. Immediate trades. Oh, Tej finds 2.
Sure. He'll make moves or a kill, falls in his lap.
Just about falls into it. Close enough though, 77 HP. The timing, the shots were there.
The game went back and forth, and in round 9, it was just a series of unfortunate events for Vivid. He team kills at the beginning of the round, and then almost clutches this 1v2. Simp shuts him down in a very winnable round, ends in a loss for Carolina, and TJ Hallie has 13 kills. Abizi has 10, but FaZe are able to snip them out one by one, bringing it down to a 3v1 with bomb down, where there's nothing you could do at this point. Vivid gets shut down, and FaZe take the 2-0 series lead. In the vault control, FaZe had all the momentum in their favor, but Gwyn and TJ Hallie start heating up here, and it was at the best time possible because they needed to in order to keep Carolina alive. Sometimes grand finals are best of 7, but because it's an online minor, it's only a best of 5. They traded defenses, and FaZe clutched the offensive round to push it to a round 5, but Carolina had more ticks. They get the defense and are able to shut down FaZe. Draza having himself a difficult series going 15-28, but TJ and Gwyn were able to turn up for this map, but unfortunately we're unable to keep up that momentum in this Hacienda hardpoint. I really feel like if Carolina could have brought this to a game 5, they really had a chance of winning this. Carolina couldn't get nothing going after the second set of rotations. Abizi having himself a fantastic performance in the finals and making a statement in this final map. There was a lot of criticism about FaZe, whether they would be going through roster changes because of their slow start, but they definitely locked in over the break. In fact, Draza thinks they're the best team in the game right now. Celium had a 1.52, but Abizi was making a bunch of plays for this team and was really the MVP throughout the entire weekend. They shutting down Carolina in this map 4 and winning the first ever minor tournament in Call of Duty League history.
Get a break, the first and nearly only break they've seen here, and they're not gonna get it. That's gonna be that, folks. Last hit, last chance, and last stat pad here for Atlanta FaZe.
All Miami had to do was win a 1v4 with bomb down. Well, they didn't, so here we are. Yeah, we can't forget about that incredible simp 1v4. Really set the tone for the weekend. And Abizi wins the minor MVP. They take home $20,000 and 30 CDL points. And it was a pretty fun tournament all around. I wish it was double elimination and there was some more matches, but it was still a well-run tournament. Only a few hiccups along the way, but I can already tell Black Ops 6 is going to be full of some crazy series, some insane clips, and a really competitive season. But let me know your thoughts about the tournament. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the support recently. It means the world to me, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.